Just picture it for a moment. Cristiano Ronaldo lifting the World Cup trophy and hitting that final CO in front of billions of people watching around the entire world. The internet would completely lose its mind. Honestly, it is not hard to understand why. For nearly 2 decades, football fans have watched Ronaldo chase down every single trophy imaginable, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Or, league titles, the European Championship, but the World Cup has always been the one thing missing from his collection. And if he somehow gets his hands on it in 2026, the Messi versus Ronaldo debate is going to explode all over again. Not that it ever really went away, but after Argentina won the World Cup in 2022, a lot of people who were still sitting on the fence finally leaned towards Messi. For many fans, that trophy settled the argument once and for all. But if Ronaldo wins one too, suddenly those same people are going to start looking at everything very differently. The good news for Portugal is that CR7 is not alone this time. Unlike previous Portugal squads, this generation grew up watching him, they were inspired by him, many of them started playing football because of him, and now years later, they have the chance to give their childhood hero the one trophy that has always escaped him. Now Ronaldo himself has claimed the World Cup is not that important to him anymore.
If you ask me, Cristiano, is a dream to win the World Cup? No, it's not a dream. Really? Yes. To win the World Cup, none will change my name in history of football. I'm not gonna lie.
But Ronaldo is not normal. He is over 40 years old and still scoring goals and breaking records, still doing bicycle kicks, still obsessed with winning, and the fact that he's surrounded by arguably the most talented generation of Portuguese players ever makes Portugal a genuine contender. They have the best left back in the world in Nuno Mendes. They have Vitinha, arguably the best central midfielder on the planet right now. They have João Neves and Bruno Fernandes. So what if 2026 is finally their moment? What if the talent, the leadership, and a little bit of luck all click at the same time? Now, the biggest reason Portugal could win the World Cup is also arguably their biggest risk, and that is Ronaldo himself. Let us talk about the Nations League. Most people did not take it that seriously. It is seen as a glorified friendly, a nice trophy but nothing more. But for Portugal, it meant everything. After their awful Euro 2024 exit, the mood around the team was completely toxic. The fans were furious. People wanted Ronaldo gone. They wanted Martinez gone. The memes were everywhere, and everybody was calling for a full reset. But then Portugal went and won the Nations League, and suddenly everything changed. That one trophy completely flipped the narrative. It calmed the pressure around the squad, it bought Martinez some breathing room, and most importantly, it kept Ronaldo as the captain and face of the national team. No more debate about his role, no transition, nobody asking for CR7 to be phased out, which basically meant one thing. Ronaldo is locked in. He will lead Portugal into the World Cup at 41 years old. Yeah, 41. That sounds completely insane. Most players that age are retired or sitting in a studio criticizing someone like Ronaldo, but CR7 is still playing, still scoring, and based on everything we have seen, still completely obsessed with winning. But there is some real tension around him, and the perfect example was the World Cup qualifier against Ireland. That match was supposed to be a statement game. Win and Portugal had basically booked their flight to the USA. Instead, Ronaldo snapped. He lost control and got himself sent off. The first sending off of his entire international career. And it came at the worst possible time. With the tournament around the corner, his suspension could have carried over to the actual World Cup. He could have potentially missed the opening group game. Fortunately, that did not happen because FIFA reduced his suspension. Now, I am only half joking when I say they definitely reduced it because of who Ronaldo is. Anybody else would have served the full ban, but FIFA wants their biggest names playing at the World Cup. The bigger issue, though, came after the suspension because Portugal played without Ronaldo, and they looked incredible. They absolutely destroyed Armenia 9-1. The football was fast, fluid, and aggressive. Players were rotating everywhere, pressing high, making runs constantly, switching positions. It looked like a completely different team. And it was a reminder that Portugal can put teams in a blender even when Ronaldo is not on the pitch. They also smashed Luxembourg 9-0 in Euro qualifying without him, which is still their biggest ever win. Now yes, those are games Portugal should win regardless. Nobody is pretending Armenia and Luxembourg are world champions, but when you score 9 goals twice without your captain, it naturally makes people ask the uncomfortable question. Are Portugal actually better without Ronaldo? The squad is built for modern football. Young, mobile, energetic. They can press for 90 minutes and attack in waves. That kind of intensity is very hard for a 41-year-old to match consistently. His physical output in the Nations League was nowhere near the levels of the other regular starters. He cannot press the way a young striker can. And in modern football, a striker has to work just as hard without the ball as with it. But then there is the other side of the argument, and this is where it gets complicated. Ronaldo scored 13 goals in 14 games across the Nations League and World Cup qualifying. He scored the equalizer in the Nations League final against Spain. His output was still there when it mattered. So if you are Martinez, you are thinking, why would I drop the guy who keeps scoring and has been the entire plan since I arrived? The style issue, though, is real. When Ronaldo is in the team, the attack can start to feel like get the ball to Cristiano every single time. He took far more shots than anyone else in qualifying. He did not register assists in those games. That tells you just how much of Portugal's attacking volume is centered around him, and that can be a problem, because Portugal's squad is absolutely stacked with other players who can decide a match on their own. Bruno Fernandes, João Neves, Bernardo Silva. These guys can run an entire attack by themselves. If everyone is constantly trying to force feed Ronaldo, you risk making Portugal completely predictable in the big games, because every opponent knows exactly what is coming. That is probably why Portugal looks so unpredictable and dangerous when Ronaldo is not playing, because on any given moment, anyone on that pitch can punish you. If this was any other 41-year-old player, the debate would already be over, but it is Ronaldo. He is still scoring, still dangerous in the box, still one of the best ever at timing his movement for that one moment that changes everything, like what he did in the Nations League final. At the same time, his last 2 major tournaments were not great. The physical decline is real. There is a version of this where Ronaldo as a starter every single game actually slows Portugal down, and there is another version where Ronaldo as a late game impact player, a penalty shootout monster, a leader in the dressing room, is actually the perfect role for him at this stage. But convincing Ronaldo to accept that role is a completely different conversation. That requires humility, and it requires a coach brave enough to do what is best for the team, not necessarily what is best for Ronaldo, and honestly, that's not going to happen. Roberto Martinez is not benching Cristiano Ronaldo, especially not after the Nations League. He has built the entire system around CR7, and changing that right before a World Cup would be like swapping the main character halfway through the movie. The good thing is, once you look past Ronaldo, you realize just how stacked this Portugal squad actually is. This is not a one-man team anymore. They have stars everywhere. Start in midfield, Bruno Fernandes, Vitinha, João Neves, Bernardo Silva. This might be the most intelligent midfield combination in all of international football right now. Bruno is an absolute monster. He presses, shoots, and creates. He can decide a match with a single pass or a shot from anywhere. The guy wasted years of his career at Manchester United, so people forget just how good he actually is. Hopefully Ronaldo just lets him take some free kicks. Bernardo is the complete opposite type of player. He dribbles through tight spaces, keeps the ball under impossible pressure, makes defenders look completely silly without even sprinting. There is a reason Pep Guardiola still trusts him completely at club level. Then you have the PSG duo, Vitinha and João Neves, who helped PSG win every single trophy available this season. These two control the entire rhythm of a game. With them in the center of the park, Portugal can slow things down or speed things up whenever they want. That midfield combination would be deadly at club level. At international level, it is terrifying. And that is just the center of the park. Up front, there is even more talent. João Felix, who ever since joining Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia has found his form again, is someone who can unlock any defense with a single touch. He floats between the lines, finds space that should not exist, and now that he has spent an entire season playing alongside Ronaldo, they are going to have a real connection on the pitch. Then if Portugal need pace and power, they bring out Rafael Leão. This guy is a nightmare for every single defender on the planet. Give him space, and it is already over. Fast, powerful, almost impossible to stop one-on-one. The attack does not need Ronaldo to pull off a miracle every single game because goals can genuinely come from anywhere in the squad. Defensively, Portugal are still very strong. Ruben Dias is the leader at the back. We have all seen what he does for Manchester City. Vocal, aggressive, organizes the entire defense, and someone who elevates his game in the biggest knockout moments. On the left, Nuno Mendes is simply the best left back in the world. He helped PSG win everything this season. João Cancelo brings incredible versatility. Yes, he can be a defensive liability at times, but as an attacking weapon from a fullback position, he is genuinely world class. And behind them all, Diogo Costa. Calm, confident, brave, the kind of goalkeeper who makes those 1 or 2 match-saving stops that World Cup stories are built around. This is one of the deepest Portugal squads in history. Youth, experience, creativity, physicality, versatility. On paper, they can go head-to-head with Argentina, France, England, pretty much anyone in the world. Another reason Portugal could go all the way is their mentality. Under Martinez, this team does not panic anymore. They stay calm when games get messy. They find solutions instead of collapsing. And that matters enormously at a World Cup where every single match is a different puzzle. Martinez has done a brilliant job of blending youth with experience. Ronaldo is not just there for the goals. He sets the standards. Younger players see someone who has won everything and is still pushing himself harder than anyone else in the building. That kind of energy spreads. Tactically, Portugal are very flexible. They can break down deep blocks or sit back and absorb pressure. They can switch styles completely mid-game without losing control. At a tournament where every opponent is trying to figure you out, that adaptability is massive. And then there is something a lot of people do not talk about. Penalties. Portugal have arguably the best collection of penalty takers in the entire tournament. Bruno Fernandes, ice cold from the spot. Ronaldo, who has taken penalties in every single high-pressure moment you can imagine. Bernardo Silva, Vitinha, Rafael Leão. Even Ruben Dias is not scared to step up. And in goal, Diogo Costa has the quick reactions and strong instincts to save one when it matters most. That psychological edge in a shootout situation is absolutely massive. And knockout football at a World Cup almost always comes down to moments exactly like that. So let us be real about Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal in 2026. They have the squad, they have the mentality, they have the tactical flexibility, and they have a 41-year-old who is still somehow doing things that make no sense for a man his age. On paper, there is no real reason why Portugal cannot pull this off, and if they do, football history changes forever. Ronaldo fans will argue the greatest of all time debate is completely settled, that winning both a European Championship and a World Cup puts him above everyone. Others will say it only counts if he wins it as the best player, like Messi did, and not just as a supporting character. Personally, I do not think Ronaldo fans will care too much about the details. To see their GOAT finally lift the one trophy that has always escaped him will be more than enough. Portugal had no major trophies before him. Now, they could have multiple. And that is something nobody can ever take away. Whether 2026 is the year it all comes together, or whether it ends in another painful exit, one thing is absolutely certain. There is nobody quite like Cristiano Ronaldo, and there probably never will be again.